Hello and welcome. I'm Lindsay Crane and these are my retro craft dreams. I'm really excited about this one, you guys. This should be a really simple project. Have you ever seen that trend where people like to take thrifted vintage artwork and transform it into something new? I have been enthralled by this idea, but I'm a little bit too much of a purist to ever want to destroy any of this vintage artwork. However, one day when I was thrifting, I saw a painting that was just screaming out for a very particular touch, and I realized it was something I could do non-destructively. Okay. Here is my painting. Can you guess what I want to do to it? I love this painting so much. Now, I love it on its own as it is. I don't know what it is, it just makes me smile. But there is something that I could stand to add to this. So, can you guess what it is? Yep. It needs a duck hunt dog. There's really no other answer for a Gen Xer like me. It has to have a duck hunt dog. And the wonderful thing, here, let me put this down. The thing about the duck hunt dog is that it is a pixelated image, which means it will be very easy to stitch on a grid. So my plan is just to stitch this little dog and attach it with magnets to this painting. Then I can move it around, I can remove it. No harm done to the painting in the end. So I'm really excited to do this. I will be shopping from Stash for this project, so colors are going to be dictated by what I own. I do need to decide whether I'm going to cross stitch it or needlepoint it, and whether I'm going to use regular Aida or canvas or plastic. I think a lot of it is going to just come down to scale because I do need it to mesh with this painting pretty well. Odds are cross stitch my Aida is going to be just a little bit too small. So there's a good chance I'm going to work on plastic canvas because that is the largest mesh item that I have. Mesh or count. Yeah. There is the question of how I'm going to attach the magnets to this. I don't think I can sew them on. I don't want to glue them on. So probably I'm going to be looking for a piece of metal of some kind that I can sew to the back of the work, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. First, I need to find an image on the internet so that I can create a chart, and then I need to go shop my stash. And then we're just gonna stitch it up. I'm super stoked. Okay. This is where I keep my needlepoint yarn. So we got some bits of canvas here. We need a lighter color for the dog and then a darker brown for the like outline stitches. We need a black and a white. Is that all? I think that's all. I think just the 4 colors. So for browns, I do have these. Some of these are vintage. I have this dark brown. Is that too dark? Oh, no, that's kind of mauve. Now this one's kind of a Pluto color. I've got these. Again, I think that's too dark. I think this might be my best option. So maybe, yeah, that might be the best combo there. So now I don't have white, but I do have some cream. I could choose that one. This one is Persian. Okay, these are also Persian. And if you don't know, Persian wool basically just means it's got the 3 strands. And then this is just tapestry wool with the single strand. So if those are Persian, I could do Persian on this too, and then I can strand them. However, black might be an issue. Is that the only black I have? Okay, yeah, those are the same. I don't see another black. I don't have a Persian wool in black. Let's see what I have in here. Probably want to save that big piece for something big. Those are too little. That might be a good scrap. I'll have to see if the stitch count works on that. So that one's probably my best option. I might use that. And then that for the dog. And then we have the black and white. I counted out the design. And if I use this canvas, he's basically this wide and this tall. I feel like that might be too small. Let me see how big the plastic canvas is. I thought this piece was going to be big enough, but it just barely isn't. However, it will give me a better idea. So he would be this tall. That's probably a much better size, huh? So I am going to do this in plastic canvas. This is what I have that is a big enough mesh to get me the size piece that I want. I'm gonna go see if I can find a slightly bigger scrap than this. This is so close to being the right size. It also will help that it's going to be a little bit more rigid, so it's gonna be able to hold its shape much more easily. I'm going to need to do some test stitches to see, first of all, how many strands of this yarn I'm going to want to use, as well as how this is going to look. Although I do think I have acrylic yarn worsted weight in black. I didn't check my acrylic yarn for the rest of it because I knew I didn't have any brown, but I do think I have some black acrylic yarn in worsted weight. The other thing is that I am going to be stitching this not in proper needlepoint. I am not going to be using a continental stitch or a basket weave. I am going to do a regular half cross, possibly even a regular cross stitch. And the reason for that is that I do need the back to be nice and flush so that it can sit flat against the painting, and also so that I can mount the magnet or piece of metal onto the back a little bit more easily. I still need to find a piece of metal. I'm hoping that will be the easier way to go, but I gotta find some. Anyway, that's for a little bit later. Let's do some test stitches. This is a vintage Busilla Persian needlepoint in crewel wool. We're just gonna start with a single piece of the Persian wool, which is itself 3 strands. So we're just gonna do a couple stitches in that just to see what that looks like. And again, I am just doing a regular half cross. That's what that looks like. And then let's come down and do another row. This one I'm going to do a cross stitch though. It does give me pretty good coverage, although you can't actually see the crosses. So there's what that looks like. I like it. It's a lot bulkier on the back though, isn't it? Okay, now what I need to see is a 4th strand added in. It's not quite smooth, but that's just because of the way I put it together. I could try 5 strands. I can feel how much thicker it is, but it's not really a lot more coverage. So I'm adding in a 5th strand. Now, a proper really good test would be doing whole blocks this size in each strand, but ain't nobody got time for that. So we're just gonna get a rough idea here. This one is the cross, and I don't hate it, but I don't know that I feel it's necessary. It's just really puffy, and it's, never mind my tails, really bulky on back. And then here we have 3 strands, 4 strands, 5 strands. Of course, they're not as smooth as they will be because I joined the strands at random, but I think, what do I think? I think like you can just see there's a little of the plastic canvas going in there. Oh, I didn't get all the lights on. I'm sorry. This, however, just feels like overkill. 5 strands, there's definitely a difference, but it also just is feeling way bulkier than it needs to be. So I think I'm gonna go with 4 strands. I needed to see what this looks like as well. So this is a modern anchor tapestry wool, and I don't want to cut it off yet. So I'm just gonna pull some out and just make sure that it has good coverage. Let's just do a real quick test here. Oh yeah, no. Whew, yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, what if I double this up? Is double strand too much? It kind of feels like it is. Shoot, that feels like it's too much. All right, I'm gonna go see what my acrylic is in black. I have this mystery acrylic that was thrifted in a bag with some other stuff I wanted. And then I have this one, which is Hobie Amigo XL that I bought for another needlepoint project. You see the difference? This is the wool. This is the Hobie. And this is the mystery stuff. So yeah, this one, the wool is definitely a lot thinner. This, I think, looks a little fluffier than the Amigo, but we'll try a little bit of both. The top row is the Amigo XL, the bottom row is mystery acrylic, and yeah, they are about the same. I was hoping one would fluff up more, but they're about the same. I'm just gonna use the mystery stuff because if it doesn't matter, let's use up something I'm not gonna use anywhere else. Okay. Easy peasy. So I have just a bunch of rare earth magnets, just basic. I'm going to use a couple of these. And what I'm going to try to do is just attach a paper clip to the back. So the idea is to have it be thin, as little bulk as possible. So I'm going to try stitching this to the back. One thing I do want to note, there are cats in the house. If you have cats or little bitty humans, and these are not safe. So I am probably gonna stick some tape over these after I get them on the back of the painting, just for safety in case I accidentally knock the dog off or pull it off without thinking, so that they don't just fall to the ground where a small creature could find and eat them. We definitely do not want little creatures eating little magnets. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm going to stitch the paper clips onto the back of my work and put the magnets on the back of the painting, and voila! Well, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun with this one, and maybe you have some ideas for your own embellishments that you can add to some artwork. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye. I love it so much. Let them see your face if you're going to interrupt. What is that noise? Is that a purr? Dare you purr? Is that possible?